Hi guys, well I thought I'd make a video. For those who haven't seen one of my videos before, I'm Simon and I'm an eBay reseller. I'm also a photographer and I've done a lot of photography in the last few years. I've done since 2005. I've worked as a photographer going around to people's houses for 3 years, photographing them in their homes with a big lighting setup, background, and selling the photos from there. I ran a shop as well, and I ran that for about 8 years, from 2008 to 2014, and that was a camera shop. And at the back of that shop was my portrait studio, where I did family portraits, pets as well, and that all went really well until the landlady wanted to put up too much rent, couldn't afford it, big complications, and long story short, she evicted us, and after the shop had been there for 60 years, that was the end of it. So since then, a lot of repercussions have come from that, losing my house, money, job, wife. But I'm still going, and maybe I'll make another video if people are interested. A motivational video as to how much you can go through and come out the other side. Well, I'm still working on coming out the other side, but that's where the reselling comes in. And this video is how to light with eBay reselling in mind, but it can be lighting for anything, because I'm going to talk through the different types of lighting that I use. And firstly, the easiest way of lighting, and without even having to spend anything on lighting, is what have you got around that you can use. Firstly, there's natural daylight, and I do use natural daylight quite often because it's readily available in the daytime. However, especially in the evening or whatever, when you're wanting to do your photography, it's not always possible. And then the easiest thing I've found is to use a halogen light. It's freestanding. I'm in a one-bed flat, so space is so compact, it's very difficult. This is freestanding, it stands in the middle of the floor, and I can turn it on and it is mega bright. And that lights my area here, and this area here is where I do all of the photography. I can place a product that I'm photographing. I'll use this for now, and I can just pop that open, and there we go. There is an item that I can then photograph. There's different things that you can use to photograph. Usually it's easiest for me, I find, just to use an ordinary phone. I've got an iPhone 5 and I can photograph it in this way. The advantage of using this halogen light is it's an uplighter. It fires light directly up onto the white ceiling, and that is so diffused coming down that there are no harsh shadows around this item, and I find that that one light is all I need. However, that I've also got the studio lights from the old studio, and I can also light them, my items, with those as well. Now, I've got a couple of Bowens lights. I mean, there are many types of lights that you can get, and I will set this up to show you. But it's a Bowens Esprit 500, and these are very, very good because you can adjust the power of the light. There's two settings here. One adjusts the modelling light, and the other adjusts the flash. You don't have to use the flash. I'm not using any flash with this light. It depends how you want to set up on your camera as to the results that you're going to get. I'll make this as basic as I can, because if I get really complicated and technical, then I can confuse anybody. Because it can be a very complicated thing, photography and lighting and understanding all of that. But I think that should be for another video, which would then go into a lot more complicated detail. So I'm going to set this up now, and then we can I'll show you these lights. Okay, so I've put this light onto a tripod, so it's fairly sturdy. Just before I'm going to put a softbox onto it. This is the light as it normally stands, and you've got the light bulb here, and then you've got the flash element here. Now the light bulb, that obviously gives the modelling light, which is on all of the time. The flash bulb is cylindrical, and you can see the wire going all the way around there, and that actually is the flash bulb. So when it flashes, that's the bit that flashes. And never touch this element with the wire around it. It is very, very delicate, and the grease from your fingers, no matter how clean they are, transfers onto that bulb like a halogen bulb. It's the same advice. If you touch it, you reduce its life. So the softbox is fairly compact when you get it. You've got the ring here, and this will go onto the light just there, and then you've got the other parts of it as well, which make up the box. You've got that part there, and then you've got the main square part of it, which will all go together nicely. Okay, so there we go. So I've got the softbox on the light, and you can see that you've got this front cover here which diffuses the light inside, so it's all stuck on with Velcro. You can see the light inside there, and you've got the reflective surface inside the canopy here, which just helps the light to be diffused and all coming out. So we'll pop this back on there. You've got the black bit at the back as well, which stops any light from coming out. So the next thing to do is to switch this on. It hasn't been plugged in. There we are. And the lighting controls are on the back there. So that bleeps and tells me it's on, and obviously you can see it's on because it's on. So as I say, I can control the lighting on the side of the light, just here, and on the right hand side, that is controlling. You can't even see it with this halogen light on. I'll turn that off. So on the side here, this controls the brightness, and this is only affecting the modelling bulb. This has nothing to do with the flash bulb. So we'll put that up to full brightness because it's quite dark in here. So that's what that one does. And then on the left hand side, you've got the control for the flash, and that can be on full. I can set that to full power, or I can have it at half power, quarter power, eighth power, 1/16, or 1/32, which basically lighting is halving each time. And that I might save that for a later video, because you can control the lighting and the aperture on the camera, and that's a lot more technical. So I may well save that for another video, because that involves knowing the aperture on the camera and all sorts of complicated stuff. So I'm just going to put this up to. I'm going to put it up to full power for now, and the modelling bulb as well. And then I just position the light with difficulty because there's no room in here. We're just going to move something out of the way, and then I can. Now I've got another choice here as well. I can either point the light upwards at the ceiling, and that will diffuse my light even further, and then it's going to, the light is shining up to the ceiling, but I'm getting residual light down here, not nearly so much, but it is diffused light, and so that helps to fill in shadows, especially if I'm using the halogen as well. And I can obviously both the variables, so I can play around with it until I get the even lighting and cancel the shadows. However, the other thing that I can do with this is I can raise it up higher and aim it downwards, such as that. Just doing it up the wrong way around. There we go. And then I've got nice diffused lighting over on the area where I wish to take a photo. So the next thing, I guess, is to take a photo. Okay, so I'm going to take a photo. I'm going to take a photo using my phone, and we'll see what that's like. And I'm also going to take a photo with my camera, which is a Canon SLR. It's the 5D Mark II, with the flash going as well, and we can compare the difference and see what the results are and what do we prefer. Maybe seeing the results, maybe comment in the comments below and let me know what you think of the lighting, of what I'm saying, and whether you prefer using a phone, or if you have any ideas or questions on lighting, and I'll do my best to help you out and answer those questions. So let's try it with the phone first of all. So that's using the available lighting. There we go. Okay, so that's taking a photo with the phone, and you can see the result there. The difficulty is, and I've chosen this object specifically because it's not an object that I would necessarily sell, it's just a box, but it's got a very contrasty thing to it. It's got a very contrasty white background. The box itself is very dark, and yet it's got a very light clasp on it as well. And that doesn't want to be burnt out, but the darkness of the box doesn't want to be too dark, or you won't see the detail in it. So that's the photo with the phone. I'm going to do them both ways, so I'm just going to switch this light off for a moment and switch the halogen on, and I'm just going to take the same photo but again with the halogen light so we can compare the difference. Obviously the angle of the angle of the light is different anyway, so the shadow is going to fall in a slightly different place each time as well. But it's going to be interesting making the comparison. Now I'm going to dig out my SLR and take a photograph on that, and I'll do it both ways with the... In fact, I'll do it three ways. I'll do it with the light, with just the modelling light, as we've already seen on the phone. I'll do a photo with a halogen light, just to compare from the earlier phone image. And then I'm going to take a picture using the flash to see the difference there as well. Okay, so I've just got the camera sorted. So it's a Canon 5D Mark II. Okay, it's got just a standard zoom lens on it, which is 35 to 135. And so let's go through this again. So I'm going to do the first one with the studio light. Let's just raise that up a bit. Okay, so I've taken a picture using my SLR using the modelling light from the studio light. So I'm going to switch that off. I'm going to take another picture using light from the halogen light, so you can compare the difference again. Okay, so that's those two, and now I'm going to take another picture using the SLR, but this time I'm going to connect it to the light and I'm going to use the flash. So I'm going to switch both on. I need a connection lead. Right, okay, so I've got the camera connected up to the light now. I've got with the cable which goes right up to the back of the light. I do have a unit which would just sit on the top of the camera and then trigger it with infrared. Or actually it was a radio one as well that I've got, but I haven't got it here at the moment. So, right, so let's take this one then and see what we get. Oh, hold on. There we go. So that's using the studio light. Now, one thing that you'll notice is that you've got light coming from one side and it is bounced back because I've got the two bits of paper up on the side there, and that helps to reflect light is coming from the light source and then it's being reflected back in by that paper, which just fills in the shadow. You have got a bit of shadow, but if I wanted to I could edit that out easily enough in Photoshop anyway. So and those are the results. Okay, so that gives you an idea as to the sort of effect that you can get with the lighting. That studio light is, using that in conjunction with the camera, means that you have total control over how you want something to be lit. If you don't understand the lighting, it's very easy to take shots with studio lights, either just by using the modelling light or by using it on program. It flashes, you get the shot, job done. But if you really want to control the lighting and get it lit in the specific way that you want, then you can really play around with it. So when I took that shot just then, my camera was in manual mode. I always use manual mode for lighting. Now that light was at full power, and that meant that the exposure on the camera, the ISO could be really, really top quality, so I had ISO of 100. The sync speed I used was 1/100th of a second, and the aperture was closed right down, and it was f20. So that gives a huge amount of depth of field. Now I did say that I wouldn't go into too much detail or technical detail, so I might save that for another video. Well, I will save that for another video. Comment below if you'd like to learn more on that, and I'll be happy to make a video going into a lot more technical detail, which gives you so much more control of the light, and then you can get the results that you want. But hopefully that gives some sort of idea and is helpful to you. If it is, then please give a thumbs up, like the video, and yeah, any comments, comment below please. And I'll see you in the next video.